2198, okay. From Ukraine, has some solid ratings. Let's play a normal game. Let's play a normal game without berserks. He goes b3 though, that's not normal at all. I wanted to play a normal game, but I'm facing this idea. Let me just fianchetto the bishop. They're trying to go for the double fianchetto, it seems. So if they're trying to go for the double fianchetto, there's no reason for us not to take the center. Let's take the center, very principled play. It's castle. Now the idea is, do you want to play c5 and take the center completely or not? Playing c5 seems normal. Yeah, let's just play c5. And the bishop on b2 seems like it's like a reversed Queen's Indian. Reverse Queen's Indian. Not so sure about what's going on. Knight to c6 is the most natural square. Where did you get your your stream overlay? Gary Alekine, you don't have to play the entire tournament, buddy. You can always join a tournament and leave after 1 hour or 2 hours. I'm not going to play the entire tournament, obviously. You can always join and leave. Where did you get your overlay from? I got this overlay from Nerd or Die. So the overlay scheme is from Nerd or Die. The background is the Lichess background they provide to all the Lichess affiliate streamers. So that's the background, and the overlay is from Nerd or Die, basically. And then, yeah, all the other elements, I customized them. I have the event list on the left-hand side with a custom CSS. I forget where I got it from, but it was not written by me. d4. Usually in the Queen's Indian, they don't want to block this fianchettoed bishop, but maybe this looks more like a Catalan now. It's not even a Queen's Indian, it's more like a double fianchetto Catalan. Reverse colors. Although the knight on f3 is a bit strange and the knight on f6. Well, I guess the knight on f6 is stranger than the knight on f3. Usually in the Catalan, for white, they play knight g2. So what to do now? If I exchange, they are presumably going to take with what? Also, if I don't exchange, what happens? Can they hold on to the pawn? If I just play a slow move like queen to c7. I don't even know what the plans are in this position. Honestly, yeah, I'm just some kind of clueless. Guess I'll play b6. Is b6 a good move? b6 takes c4. And somehow my center is falling, but they're also not doing so well with the pawn structure. Thanks, Infinite Flash. Much appreciated. Your kind words are always appreciated. Also, Flash, make sure to join my team. I have a team on Lichess. So we always have a nice streamer battle on Tuesdays. That's the biggest event that I'm hosting. Or maybe not I'm hosting. The biggest event I'm participating in as a streamer. What to do here? Honestly, I have no idea. Knight to e4 almost seems like a good idea. Almost every single time. Okay, let's go knight e4. Let's see what happens next. Yeah, I'm not sure why I shouldn't go knight to e4. Let me reposition my chair here a bit. Getting a bit tired. Just getting some back pain because of bad posture also. h3. What is h3 designed to prevent me from doing? h3. They can't take on c5 yet, so maybe I can use that towards my advantage. Can't take. Did I go bishop d7 and queen c8? That seems really, really, really slow. Could go even bishop e6. Bishop e6 looks like a funny square. After knight b d2, my idea is to simply take, and then play h6. Yeah, it's a bit awkward. That looks very awkward, actually. Yeah, the bishop does not belong there, for starters. Maybe I should just, play b6, bishop b7, bring the rook to c8. Let's try that. That seems more normal. Or even bishop to a6. Also a good diagonal for this bishop. Yeah. Yeah, knight b d2 was to be expected. Now the question is, do I play a move like f5? f5 is structurally weakening, but it has some merit. The more I look at f5, the more I like it. I think it's a bit more straightforward to play bishop a6 or bishop b7. I don't even have... The funny thing is I don't actually have to take here. So let's take the tempo. Yeah, let's make the tempo moves. Why not? Although bishop a6, rook e... No, bishop a6, c4, does it work? It does not appear to be working. Because I can take on d4 first. What to do? Bishop a6. So I see the merits of both bishop b7 and bishop a6. I think it's slightly more solid to play bishop b7 though. Yeah, I'll go for the solid approach. And I do expect him to take on e4 and then go something like knight back to d2. This looks more like a Coley, almost like a Coley system. But the bishop is not on d6 but on g7. So you see you have 4 fiancés. Okay, now this move cannot be good. Usually if white goes c3 locking their own bishop, something went wrong. I can even go e5 right away, but e5 is a bit loose. e5 is a bit loose because they can just take on e4 first. Okay, I'll just play rook c8, I suppose. Rook to c8 seems normal. Just gonna pre-move the capture. Okay, they do capture indeed. They go there. Now I just go f5, I thought. f5 and I should have a decent game. I can take on d4, play knight b4 and bring my knight over to d3 in some lines. Oh, they take there. Did not even consider that. Suppose it's a move. Now the knight is coming to d3 anyways. Yeah, black's position has to be preferred now. Even the bishop could come to d3. Which one is stronger? Should I bring the... maybe I should save the knight. Maybe I should save the knight in reserve. So first I should bring the bishop on d3, force them to exchange their light squared bishop, and then I bring the knight to d3, when the positional advantage is going to be even more crushing. Yeah, I think I like keeping my knight in reserve. So my knight is just going to dangle around the board for a bit. And in the initial stage, the bishop is going to head for the d3 square. But the problem with that plan is... do they have an immediate c4? They don't. So they just do this. If they do this... I thought I could just go knight e5 anyways. Yeah, knight e5 seems like a good move. Just like a multi-purpose move. Knight is heading to d3. Even queen d3. Queen d3 emerges as an option. Maybe the endgame advantage is even more so than the middle game advantage. So if I'm able to exchange queens, the knight on d3 becomes such a strong piece. I don't have to worry about my king's safety anymore. And somehow black's position seems more crushing. Have to think about this. Have to think very carefully about this. If I don't trade queens, I'm worried about a future knight to c4 trying to exchange knights, which I certainly don't want. This knight is a bad piece. This knight is a great piece. So, yeah, not entirely sure what to do. Knight c4 is annoying for you. Not at the moment. Knight c4 is not annoying at all. Knight c4, knight d3, and black is just completely fine. Also, knight c4, there's bishop a6. Okay. Do I go queen d3 or do I go knight d3? Problem with queen d3 is after queen e1, there's always bishop f1, so that annoys me just a tiny bit. So for that matter, I'm just gonna go knight. Have to be careful about potential exchange sacrifices because my bishop is undefended. So I have to be very careful about a future takes, and then takes. So for that matter, I should probably bring the bishop to a different square or to a different diagonal also. Queen e2, bad move. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Can I go bishop here? Bam. Bam, bam. Where's the knight going to? Are you gonna sacrifice the exchange? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Let me see it until I believe it. Yeah, bishop d5. Maybe I even keep this bishop on f7. Daksh is challenging me to a game. I'm playing in a tournament. Please don't send challenges when I'm playing in a tournament. I'm not going to accept them. What was queen e2 bad move? Well, let's go back a bit. Yeah, queen e2 maybe not so inspiring. I guess queen e2 was designed to prevent bishop a6 and bishop d3. Daksh, please stop sending challenges, bud. You're only annoying me. You're only annoying me if you keep sending challenges when I'm playing in a tournament, very obviously. You can change your privacy settings to decline all challenges, but then I have to set them back to accept all challenges when I'm playing viewers. That seems like too much work almost. Yeah, this bishop, I kind of want to keep it. The knight on c4 is not super stable, and my rook can come to b8 and put more pressure on b2. Yeah, so he just decides to move away. Is queen a5 a move? Queen a5 is not a move because of rook takes. Very annoying. Yeah. Queen a5, rook takes d3, pawn takes, bishop takes with check. So first of all, maybe it's more important to put the bishop on a protected square. Seems logical enough. Which protected square though? Can I go e6? e6 seems to solidify the bishop. And c4 is not possible because of bishop takes b2. But then my bishop is running out of squares. I don't really want to put my bishop on d5 and have it perpetually there. It's not really running out of squares though. It can always retreat. Honestly, I like my bishop on d5. Yeah, my bishop on d5 is a great piece. Bishop on d5 is great. And if they play f3, I can just take, right? Takes, 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 takes. Ah, I can't take on b2 because my queen hangs. Still, queen a5 is coming next. Where are you moving to, by the way? I will be moving back to the United States next year, assuming everything goes right. So I'm trying to keep my, my material possessions to a minimum at the moment. So I basically only have my computer and a bunch of clothes, and that's it. My toothbrush, stuff like that. So I'm trying to live very minimalistically. That's what I'm trying to say. Because at any given moment, I will have to pack up and just move back. Okay, e6. Now, this is kind of a double-edged move, though. I didn't really like making the move e6. But I felt like my bishop on d5 was better placed than on any of the other squares. Because it's keeping an eye on this diagonal and this diagonal. So that can only happen at the intersection, right? If you want to keep an eye on two diagonals, you have to find the intersection point and put your piece there. I like moving the queen from the d file, yes. Yes, please, but please guys, don't suggest moves because it's a rated game. I also like that plan, and that was my point as well. Queen a5 would be a threat. Queen a5 is a threat because in some lines you threaten to just win the pawn. Or in some other lines, you simply just take on b2 and then take on c3 and win even more material, not just a pawn, but more like a full rook. So if you give me two moves, I would move here and here. So if they take, I take with the bishop, they move the queen somewhere, I take on a1, and then I take on a3. So that's probably the big threat for me in this position. But my opponent is not going to give me two free moves at once, so I'm going to have to work hard for those tempi. I mean, my position is very good, though. The knight on d3 is a monster. The knight on a3 is kind of a lousy piece. The bishop on g7 is much better than the counterpart on b2. And yes, my rooks are not really playing. This rook is on a closed file. This rook is on a closed file. But they can shuffle. They can always shuffle to the open files here very easily. So I have three moves that I need to make. Yeah, these are the three so-called like development moves in this position. I want to improve my pieces with here, here, and here, and here. Okay. Probably listening to the stream. And the more I watch their moves, the more they seem to be defending against the exact threats I'm pointing out. So I'm still gonna go queen a5. I don't see the reason why not to. Maybe they will sacrifice the exchange. Maybe that was their plan. but I'm not so sure it's a great plan. Because if you sacrifice the exchange here, you're basically admitting that you're lost and you're just trying to complicate the position. Wow. Okay, that comes as a shock to me. That's a shockingly strange move to see on the board. I mean, at this point, I just want to bring my rook to d8 and, like, yeah, just bring the rook over to d8. What is white doing here, really? I mean, where's the bishop going? And where's the knight going next? Maybe they're playing bishop f1? Bishop f1 c4, though. Yeah, I mean, I just don't see how white is going to save himself from this position. This is a debacle. This is not working in their favor. Yeah, sure, that's a move. b4 is a move, but now this bishop is going to be bad for the rest of the game. And now my queen is coming to c7 to support a future f4 break. Yeah, okay, now we're just going Petrosian style. We're just going to squeeze them. Just kill the counterplay and just squeeze them to death. The knight on d3 is forever going to stay there. Position seems crushing. So guys, I'm going to be playing for maybe 45 more minutes and then I'm going to end the stream. I've been playing for a long time already. a4, just trying to push some things. Maybe trying to activate the bishop at some point. But I think I just have enough time to like push everything. Do I go g5 and f4? Just go for the throat? That seems straightforward enough. If I go h5, I give them enough time to play h4 themselves. Okay, we go g5. We go g5 and f4 is coming, and they're not in time to meet this idea, basically. h5 was a bit of a slower plan, trying to go h4 and soften up the diagonal. But I think g5 is more forceful, more straightforward. I can even just move the king away, bring the rooks to g8 and f8. In fact, that might be the best way to succeed. Because now the c file is going to be forever closed. The d file is also not going to open anytime soon with so many minor pieces on it. So the rooks now belong on g8 and f8 to support the attack. So maybe I can just spend 3 tempi to prepare here. I'm not sure what white is going to do in the meantime. They could go something like b4, bishop a3, but I don't believe in it. I can always scoot the rook up to f7. So yeah, let's see how white intends to meet this challenge. I just can't see moves. Like, I literally cannot see moves for white. I can see all the moves for black and none of the moves for white. If they ever take on d3 with the bishop, we are going to take with the e-pawn, opening the bishop's diagonal towards the king. And we don't want to give them a huge pawn majority on the queen's side by taking with the c-pawn. I'm gonna pre-move that, actually. Yeah, I think Alex from Ukraine is doing some wrong things in this position. Because he went from having a perfectly playable position to this. So something went wrong somewhere. Bishop goes back to to g2. Now maybe the rook just goes to f8. Yeah, I think I want my rook on f8 before playing this f4 breakthrough. So one thing that beginner players should understand is when you attack, make sure that all your pieces are in the perfect position. So if you have more space, and black has a lot more space, here look at all the pawns, you have more maneuvering space, you can just prepare your attack, be a bit slow, just take it easy, play rook f8, maybe even play rook f7, double rooks on the f file, and only then crash through with f4. Because right now if I play f4 right away, I might liberate their position. They might get some more squares for their pieces, and I don't want to give them those squares for the pieces. I want to first kill their counterplay. So let's go rook f8. Rook f8 seems good. Yeah, it's not necessary to rush, basically. You don't have to rush with f4. f4 cannot be prevented. f4 is going to come at any point. So hopefully this is a bit instructive for the viewers as well. And at least it's how I'm thinking about the position. How I'm thinking about the position. They go knight here, which was to be expected. So I suppose now the point is, if I push f4, they're gonna take. They're gonna take on e4. Can I go queen e5? Queen e5 is a nifty looking move. Defends e4 once more. In case of f4, we just take and then take e3 with check. I don't see how white is surviving. Frankly, I don't see how white is surviving in any of those lines. Yeah, I like this move. Excuse me. Queen e5. So now f4. I just want to double the rooks on the f file and then push f4. I could even go for h5, h4 to open even more diagonals. We're just going to play our hand very slowly. I'm also threatening to take on b2 and take on c3, as I'm just realizing now. This is another benefit of the move queen to e5, which I'm just seeing now. And look at this poor bishop. What the hell is the bishop doing on b2? The bishop would love to not exist. I mean, this is just a cruel fate. Cruel and unusual punishment for the bishop to stay on b2 for so long. And it all started with the move c3. So the move d4 I'm already not a big fan of, blocking the bishop's diagonal. But then the move c3, that's just admitting that you're worse. Playing a move like c3 in this structure. And then slowly but surely black was able to increase the advantage, but let's not call the game yet. The game is not over until the fat lady resigns or sings. Yeah, we shouldn't call the GG yet, because it's certainly not over. Knight back to b1. What is going on? Okay. Knight back to b1, defending c3 against the big threat of taking on... Come on, I'm not gonna exchange this knight for this piece on b2. I was not even threatening that, guys. Like, even if you'd give me another move, there's no way I'm taking on b2 and winning this pawn. It's not worth it. It's not worth winning a pawn for giving up this beautiful knight from d3. So, yeah, shouldn't go for that. Do I double the rooks and push f4, or what do I do? If I go for f4 right away, takes. Again, no need to hurry. If I go h5, there's queen e2. Queen e2 I'm not a huge fan of, so maybe I can just double the rooks. Yeah, let's double the rooks on the f file and just crash through with f4 when the time is right. When the time is right, that's when we're gonna crash through. Yes, cruel and unusual pun. Rook to a2! What is going on? I just don't understand what's happening in this position. What is rook a2? Maybe just trying to defend f2 in the future. Okay. I just don't understand. It's just so funny. I think for now I'm good. I don't want to bring the other rook to f8 because b4, bishop a3, and I'm losing a tempo in that line. I have to move the rook once more. So maybe the time is right to push f4. What do you guys think? f4, they have to take, right? If they don't take, they're just toast. Because I'm gonna take and play rook f2. Okay, time is right. We go f4. We go to battle. We go to battle. Oh yeah, because I actually want g8 for this rook. I don't want to put it on f8. I want to play king h8 and rook g8 in the future. I think that's how the attack is going to continue. Okay, this is going on YouTube, guys. If this game ends in a beautiful win, this is going as a highlight on YouTube. It's going to be a very long highlight. We've been playing this game for like 35 minutes. Yeah, 35 minutes, I think. But it's going on YouTube. This is a nice game. So far, so good. Let's make sure we finish. We wrap it up correctly. Look at the pieces. Knight on b1, bishop on b2, rook on a2. Queen on c2, rook on... Okay, queen on c2 and rook on d1 are still kind of useful in the game. Bishop on g2 also a bit useful because it's defending the light squares. But compare the mobility. So one thing I like to do in a middle game is count the number of available squares. So let's count the mobility of the pieces. This rook can move to 2 squares. You guys keeping track? This bishop can move to 1, 2, 3 squares. Total of 5. This knight can move to 2 squares. That's 7 total. This rook can move to 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 11. And then this bishop can move to 12, 13, 14, and 15. Of course, this is a sacrifice and makes 0 sense. And then the queen can move to a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So I already forget what the count was, but that sounds like 19 or something. So 19 squares. And then let's look at my pieces. This octopus can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And sadly, it cannot capture its own pawns or pieces. So that's 6 from the knight. 3 more from the bishop, so that's a mobility of 9. 4 more from this bishop, so that's a mobility of 13. And let's count the rooks. 2 here, 1 here, and 4 more here. So that's 7 for this rook. And then you guys get the idea. Black's mobility is so much greater than white's mobility. How to win? Do we just take? It seems like we just take, right? No need to complicate. They're probably just going to play g4 and get crushed. If they play g4, we're just going to play f3 and then e3. Just crashing through. Crashing through with all the guys. All the guys are joining the party. They go g4. Wow. Okay. They go g4. If they go g4, how to win? Do I go e3? e3 seems good. Do I go f3 allows them to go here. Nah, come on, this is just completely lost. Let's go f3. Let's go f3, this is completely lost. e3 is coming. This is just completely lost. Because once e3 comes, the pawn on the f file is going to be a huge monster. Now I gotta calculate. Gotta calculate a bit. Do I push e3 right away? Or do I go h5? Let's keep the torture. Let's keep the torture going. Let's go h5. I think h5 is just a classy move. Yeah, let's just go on with the torture. h5, opening up even more lines on the king's side. This is the squeeze. I'm gonna change the name. I'm gonna change the name of the channel to Vlad Squeeze or Vlad something. Bishop finally coming to c1. I think it's too little, too late. The squeeze. I can even attempt to trade that bishop with something like king h7. Is king h7 a move? Nah. Stop that nonsense, Vlad. Let's take. First we take, then we play bishop f6 and rook h7 and we just win. Because there's no way to stop mate. Yeah, there's no way to stop mate. Basically, all their pieces are super passive. Let's go bishop f6 and... Wait, bishop f6 or bishop somewhere else? Or bishop f8? Which one's better? Does it matter? Does it really matter? Bishop f6 at least controls g5, so they can't trade the queens, right? If bishop f8, queen d2, and rook h7, they can trade queens, so bishop f6 has to be preferred. Yeah, we're just mating them, basically. Rook h7, checkmate is coming. No way to defend. No way to stop the checkmate on h2. I love this game. I love chess. So a game like this makes me really love chess. I mean, I already love chess. But a game like this confirms that it's one of the best games in the world. Maybe I'm even going to stop playing the tournament after this game. I'm feeling so happy. Because I think I showed my strength in this game. And the strength is slowly outplaying the opponent until they crumble to a slow but painful death. Slow but painful or slow and painful? How do I want to explain this? Well, slow and painful seems logical enough. Slow but painful makes it sound like usually slow deaths are not painful. I don't know much about death, so I'm not an expert. Never studied the subject too much. They resign! Bishop f6 resigns. I'm going to pause the tournament, and I'm going to analyze this with a computer. Because I think we crossed 2200 in classical. Yeah, okay, this is going on YouTube.